Well, good afternoon and aloha, everyone, and welcome to this Facebook Live on being more money wise with Huna. So, this live is all about how to use Huna, the principles, the tools, the techniques in order to be more money wise, in order to better with your money. It's a replacement for the Saturday Live, which I wasn't able to do because I was running a Huna event. So hopefully you're going to find this one useful, and it'll be a bit longer than usual. So let's start with just talking about money itself. Well, why do you need to talk about money itself? Because money actually isn't what you think it is. We all think money is real, but in an odd kind of way, money isn't real. So in the UK, if you have there's coins, yeah, but if you have a note like a pound note, a £5 note, £10 note, £20 note, whatever, if you have a note, if you look at it closely, you'll find it says somewhere on it, I promise to pay the bearer the value of whatever the value of the note is. So if it's a £5 note, I promise to pay the bearer the value of £5 on demand. Now, in the olden days, up until 1931, in theory at least, you could rock up at the Bank of England and you could give them your £5 note or your £10 note, and they would give you the equivalent value in gold. That was a theory at least. But in 1931, Britain came off the gold standard and our notes stopped having that meaning. So now, if you rock up at the Bank of England, head office during working hours, they're very clear about this, and you say, I have a £5 note, I want my money, they'll give you another £5 note. It is meaningless, but we all think it has meaning. And by the way, if you Google 10 questions to ask the chief accountant or the chief officer at the Bank of England, there's a guy called Matt Slats, or a site called Matt Slats that's got some interesting stuff on this. But back in the olden days, everything was barter. So if, for example, I interpreted a dream for you, you might give me a papaya, or if I'm very lucky, a papaya and a breadfruit. Or if I've done something really amazing, I've done some incredible healing work, and you have the resources, you might bring me a pig. And it was all an energetic exchange. I do something for you, you give me something in return. And then gradually, as economics got a bit more sophisticated, it became more of a direct barter system. So in a cold climate, I might have some furs, you might have some lovely beads, I give you the furs and you give me the beads. So there's an exchange there. And of course, it then became more complicated because I've got furs, you want the furs, but I don't want your beads. What do we do then? Well, then we find a third party. We find a third party perhaps who has oil for lamps and for cooking. So it might be that the oil person wants my fur, or sorry, the bead person wants my furs, but I want oil. So the bead person gets oil from the oil person, gives me oil in return. It gets more and more complicated. Although actually, if you were trading with the with the Eastern European bloc during the days of the Iron Curtain, that method of trading was still going on because currencies weren't acceptable across the piece. I got involved in a bit of that, so I know it happened. Anyway, so money really is just a convenient expression of exchange. It's an exchange of energy. It stands instead of my furs, it stands instead of my beads, it stands instead of my oil or my papaya or my pig or whatever. It's just a representation. It's symbolic. It doesn't actually have real solid value. But look at the value we put upon it. We hoard it, we treasure it, we sit there and pore over our bank accounts, either because they're doing well or they're not doing well. We invest an incredible amount of value in it and an incredible amount of energy. So the first thing to really get your head around is this idea that money is not actually real, it's energetic. And if you think now in terms of the way money changes hands, a lot of the money now is done electronically. It's little zaplets of energy going through the ether at any one time. No money physically goes from my bank to your bank when I do a back transfer. It's just some zaplets of electronic messaging, and then lo and behold, there's magically money in my account, or magically money goes out of my account, depending how we are. So there is this energetic, almost misunderstanding that we have about energy. So, oh, the video keeps freezing apparently. So hopefully you will be able to watch it, and the replay with a bit of luck will be okay. And at some point I'll separate the audio out on this one. So there we are. We've got this sort of energetic mismatch around energy. So I made a few notes about what we might be thinking about when we're thinking about how to use Huna to help you to be more money wise. And if money is just energy, you really need to understand what you can do and can't do from an energetic perspective. One of the things I see a lot of is people who have perhaps studied the law of attraction, and the law of attraction is very much featured in Hawaii, in Huna. They've studied the law of attraction, and they know that in the law of attraction, if you focus on what you want, then you're more likely to manifest it. So there I am. I'm talking to the divine, I'm talking to source, I'm talking to the God of my understanding. And I'm saying, dear divine, dear source, dear God of my understanding, please bring me more money. But because of my childhood or whatever, I have a belief that money is the root of all evil, or money's evil, dirty, nasty, and mean, or people in my family never have money, or money's vulgar, whatever the belief is. So you have a complete contrast. On the one hand, I'm saying, dear source, send me that energy, send me money. And on the other hand, I'm saying, send me that thing that's evil, dirty, nasty, and mean. It doesn't really compute. So the first thing, particularly from a Huna perspective, that you need to do is to look at your beliefs. What do you believe about money? What do you really believe about money at a soul level, at a cellular level, not just at an intellectual level? Because we all go, oh, of course money's a good thing. But if deep down at the cellular DNA, I've inherited this from my parents and grandparents level, then we've got to fix that. You need to deal with that belief. Another thing to look at is emotions. Hi, Kim. Thank you. The other thing we have to do is to look at emotions. What emotions do we have around money? Do you feel anger about money? Do you feel joy about money? You know, if you feel joy and enthusiasm about money, it's a very different energetic experience than if you feel angry about money, or resentful about money, or resentful, and this was one that I ran for so many years, resentful for that company idiot who was younger than me, less experienced than me, less qualifications, joined the company later than me, and they paid him more for me for doing the same job. Oh, I had resentment over that one, and several people out like that. So do you have resentment around money? What are the emotions that you have around money? Are they positive, or are they more negative? Say anger, resentment, a feeling of hurt. Or another one is, let's say if you've loaned money to a friend or family member and they never gave it you back, and you've still got that festering in somewhere in your psyche, that kind of thing, that these things can really hold you back energetically from accessing money. What can you do about it? Well, there's some few Huna things that you can do about it, and I talk about that on retreats and on Huna Lives and in the Pioneers Club. But one of the things that you can do is just journal about your beliefs on energy, your beliefs on money. Journal about your emotions around money. Journal about what does money mean to you. So you start to understand energetically your relationship with money. Another thing that you can do, and this doesn't come so much from Huna, this is more of an NLP thing, but it's incredibly useful, is to look at your values around money. Ask yourself the simple question, why is money important to me? And write them all down quickly as possible, because your values provide a very deep level motivation. Your beliefs certainly provide deep level motivation. So the more you surface those, the easier it is to build your relationship with money. Your values also provide a deep level motivation. What's important to you? What's important to you at a deep level? What's important to you about money? And quite often what you find when you do this exercise is that, yeah, you've got a load of good values around money, but when you really probe and you say, what's this value about? You find that the value is actually about all the things that you don't really want and that money kind of saves you from. So classic one is money and poverty. So you might say, why is money important to you? Well, for some people, money is important to me because it gives me holidays. It means I can buy things for the kids. It means that I can do things to the house. Money's great. For other people, money's important to me because when I was a kid, we were dirt poor, and I never ever want to be in that situation again. So I want money so that I'm not dirt poor. So it's what we call in the trade an away from on money. So looking at when you think about what's important to you about money and you make your little list, for all these elements on the list, why money is important to you, which ones are important to you because it's empowerment, moving towards, and which ones are important to you because it's moving away from? I was talking to somebody this morning and we were talking about their business, and it's going well. Things are going well financially. She's okay, but she's trying to grow a business in different directions. And some of the products that she's creating aren't selling as well as she wants. So we were talking about this, and she made the comment. She said, you know, financially I'm stable, but it's just this one area, this one product where I'm struggling a bit. And I said to her, your money values, when you think about money, do you have an away from around money? And she sat there and I could see all the jigsaw pieces and the widgets in the brain clicking into place. And she said, oh, yes. Because when we have away froms, there's something in our motivation around money, there's something in our values around money that is disempowering. That's I want it because I don't want the opposite. What happens is that our performance starts to become quite erratic. So it goes, okay, money means when I have money, I'm not dirt poor. Great. So I create enough money that I'm not dirt poor, and I get to a position of stability. I'm no longer dirt poor. So I don't really need to do anything more to bring in the money because I'm no longer dirt poor. And then my money reserves start to fall down. I start to get a little bit poorer. Oh, I better do something. Right. I'll do something now, and then I won't be dirt poor. So I rush around and I do the things and I make things and I create things and I earn some money, and I'm back to stability. Until the money starts to run out a little bit and I start moving towards dirt poor again. And then I panic and I go into that routine again. And that may be familiar for you. So looking at your values, looking at why money is important to you, and whether it's important to you because it empowers you, or whether it's important to you because it means that you don't have to have something that you don't want in your life. Another thing I think is really important is forgiveness. And this is very much a Huna concept. So forgiveness is important. I talked about the guy who I resented for many years because he was less intelligent than me, he was less qualified than me, he was blah, 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 but he was earning more than me. And one of the things that I had to do on my money journey was actually forgive people like that. Forgive the people who had borrowed money and then never paid me back. Forgive the people who'd got better jobs than I had, or when I was just as qualified. Forgive the people who'd done me down, cheated me in a money sense. Because when you forgive them, you let go of them. And the Huna way to forgive them is the Ho'oponopono process. And you can find a version of the Ho'oponopono process on this page, The Secret Art of Huna, in Facebook. You can also find it in the Pioneers Club, which is a club that I have. You can find plenty of videos of me talking about the Ho'oponopono process and guide yourself through the Ho'oponopono process. When you release that old energy, those old connections, then it liberates you. It frees you up, because these people who wronged you, who hurt you, who didn't pay their debts, who left you in debt, or whatever the story was, they're behind you. They no longer have any power over you. And as I said at the beginning, money isn't real. It's just energy. It moves around the world like energy. It is energy. It represents energy. The furs that I mentioned at the beginning, if I was a fur trader in a cold climate, the work that I'd done in breeding the animal, in killing the animal, in skinning the animal, in treating the fur, in making the fur saleable, it's all energy. That's what you would be paying for when you gave me the money for the furs. So think about it in that way. And once you've sorted out some of these energetic questions, beliefs, emotions, forgiving the people who energetically and financially have let you down in the past, then you can start looking at the practical things that you would do, the financial planning things that you might do, the connecting with source, really being able to apply the law of attraction. Because once you've done these things, once you've done the energetic clearing, applying the law of attraction really becomes very easy. You open up to source, the divine, the God of your understanding, whatever that is, and the energy can flow, because it's no longer coming in and hitting blockages. It can just flow. So I hope that's been useful for you. If anybody has any questions, I'm very happy to answer them. And if you want to know more, I've actually created a longer webinar, which you can sign up to. If you go to secretartofhuna.com/prosperity, then you can find the video there, and I'll also place it again in this group. So as I say, secretartofhuna.com/prosperity even. And if you've got questions, I really look forward to answering them, and look forward to connecting with you again very soon. Take care now. Bye-bye.